Hey everybody, I'm Martinez-Bateman, CEO of New Coyote Consulting, and today is Non-Binary People's Day. I wanted to come on and do a little quick video about being a non-binary CEO, what that means to me and what I think it means not only for my company, but in the business world in general. You don't see a lot of non-binary people in executive positions. And I think part of that is because of the stigma that non-binary people or being non-binary is like a kid thing or a new thing, or that it's frivolous somehow, which those generalizations about non-binary people are deeply rooted in racism. Here in the Americas and other places that I don't know that much about, I'm Latino American, so that's the history I know. We had non-binary people before colonizers came and brought Christianity with them and tried to regulate and impose a compulsive heterosexuality on the people. Now that all of these years have gone by, a lot of things about colonization have gone away, but many of them have stayed. And one of those things is this compulsive heterosexuality and cisnormativity, which means a belief that not being trans, not being queer is normal, which normal's not a thing. So as a non-binary CEO, what I bring to the position of CEO, which is a very visionary position, especially in a startup company and especially in a communications and equity company like ours, we have to be able to innovate. We have to be able to think outside of the box. We have to be able to think of ways that are disruptive to the current market and narrative, or our company isn't going to thrive. In order to do that, thinking outside of this gender binary or existing outside of the gender binary, it really helps to inform my concept of problem solving. So a lot of people think of non-binary people as being somewhere within the sort of like dipolar scale of gender from male to female. That's not really how this works. First of all, gender is not a straight line between two arbitrary points. Every culture has different ideas of what gender is and how that works. Therefore, we can infer from not only history, but our own experience, mine and others like me, that gender is more of a sort of amorphous, ever-changing concept that exists in a collective consciousness for a people during a time. Therefore, I'm not a third gender. I'm totally outside of that. There's not just two poles in their straight line between them that I can exist on. Therefore, when I think about problem solving, when I think about situations, when I think about my company in a way, it's not just between 2 points on a line from failure to success or from good to bad or from, traditional to innovative. There's all of these other things within that, both in a linear way, but then also in a sort of like omnidirectional way that I can apply my learning to and my thinking to. Being able to have that sort of like, not just outside the box, but sort of Contrabox thinking, like there is no box, really helps our company to thrive and do well in a landscape that is extremely volatile. We were founded, our mother company, the company that New Coyote became, or the company that became New Coyote, was founded on January 19th of 2020. Right after that, COVID hit and turned our whole world upside down. And we still turned a profit our first year, and we're continuing to grow into this, our second year of being a company. How we did that was extremely outside the box thinking. It was extremely non-binary thinking. And I come to that naturally because of my identity, but I also come to it because of the work I've done to embrace my identity. When I was putting my non-binary identity in the back and saying things like, that's not anybody's business but mine, it helped me to a certain extent because people hired me and gave me jobs despite the fact that I was non-binary. I think if I had been more open about it earlier in my career, I wouldn't have had the success that I had because of discrimination. And then when I was safe enough to do that, I came out publicly. And since then, my ability to innovate has gone through the roof. And I think part of that is because I am no longer silencing a part of myself that's integral to how I experience the world. But I also think part of that is because embracing that part of me has given me access to a perspective that I was not participating in, that I was not picking up, that I was not utilizing. So being a non-binary person in leadership is not only massively important for things like visibility, it's also massively important for things like our ability to pivot, our ability to take on unique situations, our ability to innovate in a crunch. I've seen that when I embraced myself like this, my success has gone through the roof. And that can be available to anyone as long as we just don't be a fucking tool. Don't be shitty to your non-binary employees. Like, it's really super simple. So if you want to ask me questions about being a non-binary person in leadership or about how to embrace non-binary people in your organization, let me know. I will talk to you. As long as you're not being a total fuckhead to me, I will talk to you. So put your questions in the comment box. Bye.